What's up guys, my name is Blake Moore, welcome to More Finance, and in this video what I'm going to be doing for you guys is going through and explaining why I left my job that paid me $50,000 a year at the age of 19. So let's hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and get right into this video. So basically I saw Nugs post a video about why he left his job that paid him $40,000 a year at the age of 19 as well, and I watched that video and I just really liked how he explained things and also just the whole premise of what he was talking about and what he was trying to share with you guys. And his story is not too far off from mine, and so I wanted to give my own experience with almost the exact same thing that he went through, just to spread more awareness and to help people out there who maybe are stuck in a job that they don't like, but it pays them decent money and they just stick with it and wait it out until they eventually retire at 65, and then they have nothing to show for their life except a nice couple $100,000 in their retirement account. So my goal of this video is to share this story with you guys and let you know that it's really possible to leave the job where you're comfortable and where you're making enough money to live and go on to do bigger and better things. So with that said, let's get started. So back when I was 14, I got my very first job as a referee, and it was not that good. I would work like 2 hours every Saturday for $8 an hour, and it was pretty cool to get my first paycheck though. But once I turned 16, I knew I needed to get a better job and I wanted to work more hours. So I applied a bunch of different places like Chick-fil-A, even Wendy's. I applied at like American Eagle, different clothing brands, Nike, Foot Locker, and I didn't get a single one of those. So one day I pull up and I'm ordering Taco Bell and I see that they're hiring. And so I grab an application and then I come back the next day with it filled out, with my resume and everything, and I got the job. And so I was like, oh, this is amazing. Like, I'm 16 years old, I'm gonna work my butt off. And they said, oh yeah, there's great opportunities to grow in this company, the blah, blah, blah. They gave me the whole spiel, okay? And so I bought right into it. And I started off working about 20 hours a week as a 16-year-old, still going to school as a sophomore, and things were just going pretty well. And then once I turned 17, I wanted to start making more money. So when I first got hired on, I was working for $9 an hour. And then once I turned 17, I knew I wanted to start making more money. So I asked my manager, how can I start making more money? How can I get a raise? And little did I know that he was actually hiring people on at $10 an hour at that point, and I was still making $9 an hour and had been there for a year. So I was like, okay, what is this crap? And I found that out, kind of confronted him about it, but I also asked him how I could start making more than 10. He was like, well, you could be a shift manager and go through the training, and then you could make $11 an hour. And I was like, okay, sounds good to me. $2 raise for pretty much doing the same thing I was already doing, because sometimes it felt like I ran the whole store myself because of how incompetent a lot of the managers were. I went through about 5 managers my first year, and they were just awful. Literally, one of them would fall asleep in the office because he had taken too many Xanax. That's Taco Bell for you guys. And so I just went through a whole string of managers. They were all terrible. I finally got my raise and I'm like, okay, I'm a shift manager now. I'm going to put in the work and this is going to be awesome. And so I worked as a shift manager for another year, and I was making $11.50 at this point because I had gotten another raise because I had transferred stores, and I really liked the general manager there. He was really cool, and because I had been working there 2 years now, he gave me a raise to $11.50, and things were just looking up. So I was at that store, and then the general manager said he was actually transferring to take over a different store, which was the first store that I had worked at. And so I was like, oh, great. Is there any way I could come with you? And he's like, well, the only way I could bring you there with me is if I promoted you to my assistant manager. And I was like, okay, what do I got to do to become assistant manager? Like, let's do this. And so I went through the training. It's like an 8-week long training that you go to 3 days a week for 8 hours a day. And they train you all the manager skills you need and how you're going to be making money. And what's cool about the company I was working for is they actually give you stock options within the Harmon's company that isn't a publicly traded stock. It's a privately owned stock. And so you get shares in that, and the average rate of return is 12% per year. And that's what they've been growing at since about the 60s, I believe. And so I was like, okay, great. I'm going to get some stocks in this company. It's going to set me up perfectly for retirement. And they go through all that in your training. They're like, this is how you're going to retire with over $1 million. This is what you need to do, blah, blah, blah. Give you all the numbers of how to do everything. And it's actually a really great manager course, to be honest with you guys. I learned a lot of great stuff, a lot of great people skills, a lot of great business skills by doing that training. So me and my general manager, we transferred stores, and I was like, this is great. And now I was making $12 an hour and was also an assistant manager, which was pretty cool. I made the schedules. I was able to hire people, fire people, do all that good stuff that management gets to do. And so I was liking my life, but once I moved up to that position, they can work you as many hours as they want. When you're a shift supervisor and you're under 18 years old, then they can only work you 40 hours a week. And so once I got to this position, it was a complete game changer because I was working about 60 hours a week on the low end, sometimes would hit up to 75 hours a week. And I was trying to work another job at a gym as well. And so one week I ended up working about 88 hours for the week. And I just knew I couldn't do it anymore. So I had to quit the job I had at the gym that I loved. But I was like, it's fine. You know what? I'm making plenty of money as an assistant manager over here, so it's not a big deal. And that way I can focus on growing my store. And what's cool is the better your store does, the higher your stock options grow. So our store was doing fantastic because when I got the stock options, the store was kind of a dump. And me and this general manager turned it into the fastest Taco Bell in the company. So we really had flipped the whole thing around. We were making good money. And then I did this from the time I was 18 years old to the time I was 19 years old. For almost a year and a half, I was at this position, just almost at a standstill, working my butt off, and didn't really have much of a social life. All my friends were either in college or working on their own, and pretty much the only social life I had was when I would go to the gym for an hour with my friend Jace, who actually worked at the Taco Bell I worked at because I hired him on to work part-time there. So he was working part-time there and his other job, and we would try and fit in an hour a day to go to the gym, and that was pretty much my social life. And just any conversations I had at work, those were my friends, because I pretty much did not leave the store. It was pretty rough. So towards the end of my tenure at that store, things started to go downhill. We had about 6 people quit, and we were trying to hire more people on. It just wasn't working, and there were days that I had to work literally 20 hours. I would have to work open to close, and as you guys know, Taco Bell is open pretty late. We were open till 1 in the morning and opened at 6 in the morning. And so sometimes I'd have to work from 5:30 to literally 2 in the morning, sometimes 2:30, and there were times that I had to literally work till 4 a.m. because both of the people I was supposed to close with would either not show up, or sometimes I literally had to fire both of them because I would catch them doing drugs in the bathroom or different things like that. It was just a mess at this point. And I mean, I was making $12 an hour, and I was like, man, this just sucks. Like, I can't keep doing this, honestly. And so I went to my area manager, who was over the 10 stores in my area, and I was just like, hey, I can't keep working for this low. Like, how can I get a raise? Because I'll put in the work, I'll do what you need me to do, but I just need to make more than $12 an hour. It's just not worth my time to be doing all the work I'm doing and only get paid this amount of money. And so I was like, is there any way I could get bumped up to $13.50? That my general manager is making $14 an hour. I feel like I should make $13.50. He was like, well, we actually just had an opening for a brand new store where the general manager just quit, and it's actually a KFC, and we were thinking of you for that position. Would you be interested? And I'm like, okay. How much would I be making? He's like, $15 an hour. And I just thought that was the greatest thing in the world. I was like, no way, I'm gonna become a general manager. I'm gonna get even more stock options. I would get bonuses based off the profit that my store made, and just a bunch of benefits that I didn't have as an assistant manager. And so I took the job, and 2 weeks later, I was in training for that job, on the job training, because I didn't know KFC at all. And then 2 weeks after that, I was in my store, running my own store, and I get there. And the workers, first of all, they were about 10 people understaffed. And the workers who they did have were the laziest people I've ever met in my whole life. This was in a very rich area of town, and I think a lot of them were just working because their parents forced them to get some form of job experience. But really, they didn't care about their jobs because they knew mommy and daddy would make up for it if they made absolutely no money. So the workers there were terrible, and the whole atmosphere there was terrible, and I didn't even have an assistant manager. And so I was working a good 70 hours a week. Sometimes I would work open to close multiple days a week. Luckily with KFC, they are only open from 10 to 10. So usually I would have to work from 9 a.m. to like 11:30 p.m. and that was the open to close shift there. Unlike at Taco Bell where it would have been a 20-hour day. But these hours were still grueling, trying to run a store and also manage a business, and also trying to manage these 16-year-old kids that didn't really know how to work and didn't want to work. And so I hired my friend on again who was with me at Taco Bell. He helped a little bit, but I just could not hire anyone. The people in that area, a lot of the kids don't feel the need to work and their parents don't make them, and the very few that their parents make them, they end up being crappy workers, and so I just couldn't find anyone to help me. I would ask my area manager if he could send some people over to try and help me because we would just literally get slammed during the dinner rush and have a line that was about 15 to 20 cars, and your drive-through wait time would be about 20 to 30 minutes at a minimum. And it was just awful. There was just nothing I could physically do to make up for it and to fix this store. And so at this point in time, I was 19 years old and I couldn't even turn a profit in my store because of how busy we were, but without any workers, then it really was taking a ding on the business as an entirety. And so I couldn't even turn a profit. I wasn't getting the profit bonuses that I was promised. And also because I transferred stores, my stock options were not as good as they were at the other store. And so everything just started to go downhill very quickly. I would stay late a lot of nights and even contemplate just sleeping there because I was so tired. And I would pretty much work 7 days a week because on the one day off that I would get, I would have a call that I would have to come in and fix something or come in and clean something up or come in and help out because we just didn't have the personnel. There were days I literally had to work open to close multiple days in a row, sometimes for a week straight, because I literally had no one to fill the positions. And if I can't work 16 and 17-year-olds over 40 hours, then I had to make up the difference because I didn't have an assistant manager. I continued to badger my area manager to get me an assistant manager and to get me some help, and nothing seemed to be working. And so one night I was working and I had 2 people not show up, and that was out of the 6 people that were scheduled to work. So it was me, my friend Jace, and one other worker, and I believe it was a Friday night or something like that. I can't quite remember the exact day, but we got hit so hard during the dinner rush, and I just said, I'm done. This is stupid. I've tried to make the store as good as it can possibly be. I'm trying to get help over here. Like, my area manager is not helping me whatsoever, and this is not worth my time or the amount of hours I'm putting in. And so that night I closed the store down. I texted my area manager and said, hey man, I've been trying. You haven't been helping me at all. I've had enough. Like, I can't keep working 60 or 70 hours a week and sometimes even 80 and keep my sanity. It's not possible. This is not worth the money. If I was making $25 an hour plus bonuses, yeah, I would be glad to go and work that amount of hours for you guys. But unfortunately, you're only paying me 15 and you refuse to give me another raise. And so I'm done. I'm sorry, you're gonna have to find a different general manager. And I never went back into work. And so the reason that I tell you guys this story is because I did learn a lot from the whole experience. But I tell you this so that you can go out and have the courage to find a different job if you hate the one that you're at right now, or just in life. If you're in a situation that you don't like, then try and find a way to get out of it. Work your butt off and make something come from that crappy situation. And on the other side of that crappy situation is probably the best situation that you can be in your life. So that's why I give you guys this story, because I went from making $50,000 as a general manager at 19 years old to where I'm at today full-time delivery driver, full-time YouTuber, and I make double that. So in just a year and a half, I went from making $50,000 a year to where I'm at now, where I'm making over $100,000 as a DoorDash driver and YouTuber. It's just absurd to me that I work less hours now, making double what I was there, and the work is not nearly as hard. I would so much rather go drive around for 12 hours a day delivering food than working on a line at Taco Bell or KFC making orders for people. The job is so much easier, I get paid so much more, and it's all from things that I did myself. And so I tell you this so that you can hopefully do something about your situation if you're in a bad one. Know that there's other opportunities out there, and that literally as a delivery driver and YouTuber, if that's what you wanted to do, you could make $100,000 a year doing that. And I know from me saying that, a lot of you guys are probably like, what? He makes that amount of money? There's no way. Well, I'm gonna be breaking down how I make that much money in a further video, so stay tuned for that because I'm gonna give you guys the full breakdown of how I do that as a self-employed delivery driver. So if you have any interest in that at all, stay tuned for that video. And there you have it. That is my story. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening to this video. If you got any information from it whatsoever or enjoyed it, make sure you hit that like button and also hit that subscribe button if you want to be entered into the giveaway, or if you want to help me donate that 10 cents per subscriber. That giveaway and that donation video will be coming up here pretty soon as well, so stay tuned for that. And as you guys know, you're the best subscribers in the entire world, and I'll see you guys next time.